Well, 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 I'm back in a chair and that can only mean one thing. I found something that I want to talk about. Now, I technically didn't find this. This is actually just an announcement that Ponytown made regarding Dergun Town and some situations that's been happening behind the scenes with both of these games. Dergun Town is just a custom server, but you get my point. So essentially, Dergun Town has not only broken the law, but been trying to make Ponytown look bad since basically like day one. I'm not going to say day one, but Dergun Town has been trying to make Ponytown and the developers of Ponytown look bad for an extremely long time, and they have just been doing some illegal things, some shady things, and just overall, this announcement goes over everything. So I will leave a link to this announcement in the description so you can read it for yourself. It's just a Google Docs sheet that you can read, but it does take quite a while to go through. You can see me scrolling through it right now. It takes a good minute to scroll through. I mean, there's a lot of information here. There's lots of screenshots. There's even audio files and everything else. There's just so much going on here. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to go through everything in this one video. I'm not going to make like a part 2 or anything like that unless we get more information apart from this. Before I do that though, I want to mention a couple of things that people have overall been saying about the whole situation. The number one thing I keep hearing, and this is usually people that are huge fans of Dergun Town, but the main thing I've been hearing is, oh, that's fake, Ponytown faked that. Now, my thing is, sure you can manipulate screenshots, sure, that's not that difficult. I mean, it's actually extremely easy, but they have a lot of screenshots here. Some of them dated extremely far away. I mean, October 14th, 2019. I mean, that's quite a bit. That's quite far away. But not just that. I mean, sure you can fake the dates of these things as well, but there's so many. It would have taken so long. It would have been such a huge hassle. It wouldn't have been worth it, and it would have been too risky for them to fake it. I mean, if they faked this, you realize that would destroy Ponytown if they faked this, and it came out as proof that they faked it. That would destroy Ponytown. So it would have been too risky for them to fake it. They wouldn't have gained anything anyway, because at most they would have turned some people away from Dergun Town, which doesn't really benefit anyone. I mean, who's that really benefiting? There's also some audio clips in here too, which I don't exactly know how you're going to fake that when it's their voice. So I digress. There's lots of things in here that just, to me, prove that Ponytown is in the right here. Ponytown, everything they say in this document is true. That being said, I hear a lot of people saying that this document is fake, that the screenshots are fake, that the audio clips are fake, that just overall Ponytown is just making up allegations. To those people, I have to say, go through the article yourself. Go through the document yourself. Actually listen to the audio clips, actually read the screenshots, actually look at the screenshots, and overall try not to be stubborn about the whole thing, because this is just too overwhelming for me to just say, oh, that's fake, oh, I don't care, I'm not going to even read it. You know, it's too much proof for me to just sit back and not say anything about. But that being said, here's what's going on. So, September 7th, 1 week after Ponytown decided to open up custom servers and for people to make custom servers. This was quite a while ago. That was in 2019, of course. Anyway, September 7th, a week after they decided to open up custom servers, Dergun Town, one of the founders of Dergun Town, to be exact, emailed Ponytown saying, "Hey, I want to make a custom server and I want to monetize it," which is against the rules and technically illegal if they don't get explicit permission from Ponytown. The creators of the assets and everything. There's copyright issues involved with that. If they just take it and just start making money off of it, they're literally just breaking the law. You have to get permission. That's the same. If you want to make your own custom server, you can't make money off of it because you're literally taking assets that don't belong to you and making money on it. That's illegal. So, unless you get permission, of course. So, Ponytown was like, okay, we're kind of not really excited about this thing. We hope this doesn't become a trend. We don't want this to happen, but let's talk to them and kind of hear them out and see what's going on. So they did, first off explaining that it's literally illegal for them to do it without explicit permission. And yeah, they basically had, a little bit of a discussion and everything like that. And this is very important. I want to mention this. Never, not from the beginning, not till the end, for the entire thing, Ponytown literally never said, hey, you can make money using our assets. They never once agreed to let Dergun Town make any kind of profit. They literally never agreed to that. They said, don't do it. From the very start to the very finish, they said, don't do it. So that's very important because there's multiple times when Dergun Town actually breaks that agreement. That being said, they talked to Tom and only to learn that he doesn't fully understand development workflow and isn't exactly the most experienced when it comes to this, or at least that's the way I interpret that when I say not experienced. I assume he at least knows a little bit of what he's doing, but it seems like what Ponytown is saying, that this person doesn't exactly understand workflow and stuff like that, which to me makes a lot of sense because Dergun Town has had, all kinds of bug glitches, this not working, from the very beginning to the very end to today, really. Dergun Town has always been a mess. It's always been having problems, and I can only say that that's probably because Tom and some of the other developers at Dergun Town actually don't know what they're doing. Or at least they know a little bit of what they're doing, but not fully know what they're doing. And that would, to me, explain why you see so many bugs, glitches, and other issues with Dergun Town's servers. So to me, that adds up. So Dergun Town agreed to keep Ponytown posted and keep them informed on what's going on. Ponytown was like, okay, sure, we'll keep us informed and everything like that. Now, unbeknownst to Ponytown, Dergun Town opened up a PayPal. They opened up a PayPal, linked it not only in their Discord server, but on the main game as well, on the main site for Dergun Town. They linked it in both those places, and it stayed there for 4 days because Ponytown decided, like, okay, we'll give them a second to kind of react and kind of, keep us informed because he said he would keep us informed. So we'll let him inform us. We'll let him talk to us about it, and then we'll get to it. 4 days go by and he never said anything. Dergun Town never said anything. So they decided to reach out to Dergun Town and basically said, hey, we never agreed on this. Why is this there? Dergun Town claimed that it was a misunderstanding. Ponytown was a little bit reluctant to agree on it, but they decided that, okay, sure, it was a misunderstanding. That's fine. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt and move on from here, but please remove those links because that's not what we want. We don't want you to be monetizing this because we don't want that. So they basically agreed, okay, yeah, we'll remove those links. They removed those links and claimed that despite having over 500,000 users and the links being up there for 4 days, they claimed that despite this, they made no money. They received no donations. That being said, that would mean that Dergun Town technically didn't make any money illegally. But there's no real proof on whether or not Dergun Town actually received these donations. Their announcement actually didn't address that, but there's technically no proof if Dergun Town made money in that first 4 days or not. The only proof that you can get is if someone who donated it within that 4 days comes forward and says, hey, yes, I did donate during those 4 days. I didn't know I contributed to something that was illegal. Here's the proof. Here's the donation receipt or something like that. That's literally the only way we're ever going to get proof if Dergun Town actually made money in those 4 days. Apart from that, we literally just have to assume that Dergun Town was being honest here. Moving on, Ponytown started to, have some concerns about Dergun Town and other Ponytown groups, promoting themselves and making money on these custom servers and stuff like that, despite not actually taking any unique directions, despite not really doing anything unique, aside from a couple of random hairstyles and stuff like that Ponytown would probably just eventually add anyway. So they weren't really contributing that much, so they were concerned that, okay, they're trying to monetize this thing, they're not really making a unique approach, and this is probably going to create a huge issue for us soon, so we're going to stay on the fence about this for a little bit longer, but we're fine. They ended up having another meeting with Dergun Town and stuff like that. In this meeting, they talked about some different things like that, including the Visit Ponytown button, which you see on every single custom server to this day. That Visit Ponytown button will take you to the main site, Ponytown, where you can experience the original game to your heart's content. Now, this was something that they, talked to Dergun Town about and some custom servers, and everyone agreed, yes, that's right, let's do it. Let's put that button on there because that's only right, and that's only fair, and that only makes sense. So Dergun Town agreed to do it too, and that was pretty much it for a while. So they had another meeting. After that meeting, things kind of slowed down. There really wasn't much discussion between these servers, these custom servers. There wasn't much discussion between Ponytown and Dergun Town for a while. Yeah, so they just basically consulted each other about, well, not each other, really Dergun Town was talking to Ponytown about things like map editing and stuff like that. There really wasn't much discussion apart from that for 3 weeks. Meanwhile, I guess while this was happening, Dergun Town released an update. They released a new version of the game, and with this new version of Dergun Town, they removed the Visit Ponytown button. breaking yet another agreement that they had. They broke yet another agreement, and that wasn't good. Literally every single other custom server was keeping their promise. Every other single custom server was keeping their agreements. Every single other custom server was following the rules and doing the right thing, except Dergun Town. Dergun Town was the only exception to this rule. Dergun Town, for whatever reason, did not want that button on there. I don't know why. They agreed to do it, and then they just removed it for whatever reason. So they basically decided to make yet another meeting with Dergun Town, and before they did, though, they had a rather interesting call from someone that I guess was in the Discord server or something like that. Q specifically apparently talked to them. Basically described that during September they had a private call with Tom, which was the developer of Dergun Town at the time. I'm assuming they still are, but I don't know. I really don't. And although they initially had agreed to keep the call private, they had since, decided to basically explain what was discussed. They apparently, Dergun Town had been making fun of Ponytown and trying to make Ponytown look bad and stuff like that from a pretty early time. Like, Dergun Town was trying to make Ponytown look bad basically from the start, and they just was basically just, I don't even know how to say it other than to just be like, they were blaming code when they couldn't even, get their own color pattern and pixels right. They couldn't even get their own pixels right. Instigating users against Ponytown. They were literally getting people in Dergun Town and Dergun Town servers and Discord servers. They were basically, Dergun Town was getting people and putting them against Ponytown and trying to turn them against Ponytown so that they would stay on Dergun Town. They were literally trying to turn the users against the developers of Ponytown. This happened for a while. There's a couple screenshots and stuff like that. I'm not going to really share any screenshots in this video, by the way. If you want any of those screenshots, again, the link to this entire document will be in the description. I highly recommend going through this whole thing because this is extremely interesting and very, very important in my opinion. After seeing this, Ponytown realized that, yeah, Dergun Town definitely isn't who they pretended to be. This is definitely not something that we wanted. And overall, they decided to postpone their support for custom servers for a bit while they kind of, went over things. They kind of made yet another meeting with Dergun Town. They talked a little bit there. Some audio files were shared on this document, so you can listen to those too as well if you want to check out the document in the description. But they have some audio clips there that kind of prove a little bit more of what's going on. And a little bit after this, they decided that we're just going to drop custom server support. We're just going to drop that support because this doesn't need to happen again, and this probably will happen again, and this just overall might be averted if we do this. So they kind of just proceeded with an announcement regarding, the support. If you don't know, they don't support custom servers anymore, so all the custom servers that are out there are kind of doing everything on their own. So they kind of announced that and everything like that, and yeah, things just keep continuing. It turns out they were regularly spreading even more lies, even more people, turning even more people in, against Ponytown. They were turning more and more people against Ponytown as time went on. The Dergun Town team just kept trying to turn users against Ponytown, trying to turn them against the developers of Ponytown, trying to just spread lies and mistruths and everything like that. And they just wanted more and more from Ponytown, and they kept wanting to try and find ways to monetize and everything else. This is something that I want to address, and they addressed it here too, and I'm so glad they did, because this is something that has always irritated the heck out of me, and something I always defended Ponytown on. If you don't know, back when Dergun Town was still kind of new, when it was early and everything like that, Ponytown kept getting blamed for stealing things from Dergun Town. Every single update that Ponytown had around this time was, oh, they stole that from Dergun Town. Oh, they stole that from Dergun Town. But when in reality, if you look at the timeline of events, and you could have done this yourself as a user, you would have seen that Ponytown did this, then Dergun Town did this, which means Dergun Town was doing it after Ponytown, which means Dergun Town was stealing from Ponytown. You get what I'm saying here? The timeline of events, even back then, that's why I defended Ponytown, is because they weren't stealing from it, and it was so obvious they weren't. But so many people were turning against Ponytown, saying that Dergun Town stole this. Ponytown stole this from Dergun Town and all that stuff, when in reality, Dergun Town was the one stealing everything. And this, if you were around the Ponytown community, the Dergun Town community, if you were between those two around this time, you would have realized that this really was bringing a divide between this custom server and Ponytown as a whole. more and more people were being like, oh, Dergun Town's better anyway. I'm just going to stay there. I'm just going to leave Ponytown. Because Dergun Town was so effective in the way that they lied and manipulated people into believing their side, they were actually legitimately taking people away from Ponytown and keeping them on Dergun Town. And that was something that bothered me back then because I saw it happening, but I couldn't say, oh, with 100% truth that this was happening and this wasn't happening. I didn't know Dergun Town was manipulating people. I didn't know Dergun Town was the ones responsible for spreading these lies and rumors and stuff. When in reality, Dergun Town was indeed the team that was spreading these lies in an attempt to steal everyone away from Ponytown, in an attempt to make Ponytown look even worse. When in reality, Ponytown never did anything wrong. They never did anything that made themselves look bad. Dergun Town faked everything that made them look bad. And so Dergun Town kept claiming that they were stealing ideas, copying ideas, claiming this, claiming that, trying to make Ponytown look worse and worse and worse. And you see all of this proof here where Dergun Town is, basically saying these things, and more and more proof and everything else. And then Dergun Town ends up, hiring someone that has a very, very bad backstory, a very bad history and stuff like that. Basically, a very, very bad person was hired on the Dergun Town team. Dergun Town didn't do any background checks, which I guess is totally fine. I guess he didn't necessarily have to, but even after offering proof to Dergun Town that, hey, this person did this, this, and this, so you probably shouldn't be hiring them on your team because they're going to do this, this, and this. Despite that, Dergun Town decided to keep that person on the team, and honestly, I don't know if they're still on the team to this day, but they were around this time, and they were after being told, hey, this is wrong. So everything else, they kept doing all kinds of things. They found more ways to break the law, more ways to monetize everything else. They opened up this merch store, which I guess part of it isn't technically legal, but some of it, in my opinion, kind of is, because something that they had, which in my opinion should have been legal, and that's my own opinion, but they made an enamel pin for their OC, which was this NPC that you see near the tower. That's Azrath, I think. They monetized that character and basically made enamel pins for it, which in my opinion is a gray area when it comes to legality and everything like that, because at this point, at that point, they're monetizing their character, they're not monetizing the game itself, but they are kind of using the game to monetize this, which is that just, in my opinion, makes it a gray area. I don't actually know the legality of that whole situation, but in my opinion, it's just a gray area. And Ponytown again talked to them and everything like that, and Dergun Town, eventually came to an agreement that, okay, we'll keep it up, but we'll only, give those we'll only give those profits to a charity and everything like that, and Ponytown eventually agreed to that. So that's a plus, I guess. Plus for charity and everything else. But things just keep going on, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And overall, this whole document kind of goes over everything a lot better than I probably could. But these are my thoughts. This is what's going on. And I guess take of this information what you will. And yeah, that's really kind of all I have to say on it, other than there is so much proof in this. It's hard to deny any of it, in my opinion. But anyway, yeah, that's going to do it for the video. I'll keep you posted, keep you updated on more things as more things come to light. Personally, regarding Dergun Town and how they're reacting to everything, I have seen people say something along the lines of oh, they shared something in the Dergun Town server and then it was immediately removed. I've seen things like this. I don't know how many of these are true. I'm in the Dergun Town Discord server, but I honestly constantly forget that I'm in this Discord server. And the only reason I ever joined it was to try and learn about some of the lore and some of the facts and just different things about Dergun Town, but it's such a disorganized mess, I couldn't get anything out of it. So I'll probably end up leaving Dergun Town, but honestly, at this point, I kind of want to stay in Dergun Town just to kind of see how things play out. But again, these are my thoughts, these are my opinions, and these are the facts. So take of the information what you will, and until next time, please like, subscribe, share, do those wonderful things, because when you do those wonderful things, you get access to wonderful content such as this. That's not all you get. That's not all you get. You also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.